On the left, an ambulance weaves along St Helier's back streets, presumably following the thick smoke. From this distance, the flats seem to be glowing a bright orange, which of course is the fire at its height. And this is the moment of the explosion captured on CCTV.
We have a 3-storey building that has completely collapsed. Described as, from a demolition point of view, probably as a pancake that has just dropped almost sort of straight down.
The bang woke me up at 4 o'clock, but I didn't know obviously what it was. But then my daughter went on a phone this morning and she said there's been an explosion, and that's all we knew.
It's been declared a major incident. In fact, islanders have been advised to stay away from the emergency department unless absolutely necessary. The explosion happened just before 4 o'clock this morning in Jersey's capital, St Helier. On Pier Road, there's a block of flats owned by Andium Homes, the public housing company owned by Jersey's government. The residents have been moved to the town hall for now.
I've been reassured that they will all have a roof over their heads this evening, and the coordination is now going on to ensure that they have everything they need in terms of bedding, clothing, because most people, of course, left their homes this morning in a great rush.
Of course, questions are being asked now about how this happened. The police chief has confirmed that the fire service were called to the flats yesterday because residents had smelled gas.
As part of an investigation that will look into that will be part of the mix, and whether or not there was a safety issue.
A journalist based in the city tells us that the community in St Helier is tight-knit.
How do you think islanders will be feeling hearing the police chief say, actually, yeah, the fire services were called out yesterday over concerns around gas?
I think the island will be in shock. I mean, it's been a very difficult week for Jersey. On Thursday, we had the freight ship collide with a local trawler, and there's 3 missing fishermen at the moment. And now we have this happening at the weekend and at this time of year. It's a very close-knit community. If you think 36,000 people live in St Helier, so somebody will know somebody who knows somebody. And it will, spark concern, I'm sure, across the island.
And this is a live incident. Search and rescue teams will carry on with their work to find the people who are missing. This could take days.
Well, earlier I spoke to the Very Reverend Michael Curl, the Dean of Jersey, and asked him what he heard this morning at the moment of the explosion.
Well, my wife and I were awoken by a very large bang, which then rattled all the windows. And as you can imagine, at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're not quite sure what it is. To be honest, I thought it was an earthquake. We get them here every now and again, but we both went back to sleep. And when we woke up, we thought, well, something's happened. And we heard that there had been an incident in Pier Road, which is just down the road from my own church. And as the early morning unfolded, we began to realize that something major had happened and that there'd been an explosion.
The pictures of the block of flats look absolutely devastating, and your heart goes out to anyone who must have been caught up in that. What have you seen?
What I've seen is a community that has really come together very, very quickly. People who are displaced by the block of flats were taken to the local civic town hall, where they've been cared for incredibly well by the St Helier parish team. Those displaced people will all have somewhere to stay this evening. And there's been huge, generous offers of help from so many people. Later on this evening, from 5 o'clock onwards, we are holding a vigil in St Helier Parish Church, which is literally 400 yards away from the blast zone. And that's just an opportunity for people to come along, to be quiet, to reflect, to light a candle. And there'll be people there to listen if people want to have a conversation.
Clearly, this is still unfolding. It's a very dangerous rescue going on right now. But how are people feeling on the island today?
I think, it's Christmas time and you find this sort of slightly strange atmosphere around the place where everyone's gearing up for a joyful time, and yet these terrible tragedies have unfolded. I think people are concerned. They're obviously feeling for the community, and especially those who sort of lie at the heart of this. There will be many of us tomorrow in our services who will be praying for those who have lost their lives and who wait. I mean, waiting's a terrible time. Advent is all about waiting, but waiting without knowing is a difficult thing.
This is the second tragedy to hit Jersey this week. A small island, that's a lot to deal with.
The island is reeling from some, fairly unusual tragedies that have happened here. The fishing community is a very tight-knit community in Jersey, and again, our hearts go out to the 3 men and their families who lost their lives there. And obviously, the Pier Road explosion lies right in the heart of St Helier. It's an area that people go by every day. It's not something that could be sort of cordoned off. And so it's going to be very much at the forefront of people's minds over the coming weekend. And this isn't going to sort of all be cleared up overnight. It's going to take quite some time to be able to give some closure to people who are anxiously waiting for news of the people they love and care about.
Very Reverend Michael Curl, thank you so much.
You're welcome.